Welcome back to the deep dive at the place where we really try to take, these mountains of articles,
All
research.
that information overload.
Exactly. And just distill it, right? Make
Yeah.
it concentrated knowledge, something useful just for you.
hmm
And today, wow, we are focusing on what feels like a real pivotal moment, a sort of inflection point in Hollywood.
Yeah, and it's symbolized kind of neatly by just one night, one specific look.
We are talking about Milly Alcock.
That's right. So our sources today, they really zero in on her appearance at the Annual Academy Museum Gala, the 2025 one.
Right. And it's easy sometimes to just glance at red carpet stuff and think, okay, fashion, whatever.
Fluff.
Yeah.
But this time, this feels different. The sources suggest her just being there, her attendance, it's like proof.
Proof of concept.
Exactly. Proof of concept. It's like the public announcement almost that this star who broke through has, really made the jump.
Transitioned into what? Like Hollywood royalty.
Yeah.
Integrated into the system.
Integrated industry royalty, yeah. That's a good way to put it. She's in the club now.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to take that snapshot, right? The specific moment, the serene elegance they talk about, and use it almost like a map to trace her whole career path, which has been, let's face it, incredibly fast, hyper accelerated.
Totally. We need to unpack this event, this gala, as the symbol of where she's at now, her new status.
And maybe most importantly, we gotta tackle that big question, the one the sources themselves seem to be asking.
Big one.
Is Milly Alcock actually truly destined to be one of the, the great figures of her generation?
It's such a compelling question, isn't it? And the whole narrative is built on this almost unbelievable contrast.
Yeah, the juxtaposition is wild.
The sources keep coming back to it. Her look at the gala, ethereal and sober, right?
Yeah.
At this super prestigious event.
One of the biggest nights, financially and socially, for the movie business globally. Packed
Right.
with huge names.
Yeah, the absolute power players.
Yeah.
But then you set that image against the story of her very recent past,
Yeah.
which is almost mythical now.
Right. Like literally working for a minimum wage, living in obscurity just, 3 years before this?
Washing dishes in Sydney, living in her mom's attic. It's
Get
incredible.
a contrast. That
Yeah.
journey. Sydney dishes to a, what was it, $12 million fundraiser red carpet in LA? That's the core of it, isn't it?
That's the tension we're diving into.
Mm.
It's not just a nice story like a fairy tale. It feels like a lesson in, strategic career acceleration.
Okay. Let's unpack it then. Let's start right there at that defining moment, the gala itself.
Okay, so to really feel the impact of Alcock even being there, we first need to grasp how important this Academy Museum Gala actually is. Strategically important.
Right. It's not just any industry party.
No way. This was the fifth one they've held, fifth annual, happened October 18th and 19th, 2025.
At the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in LA, obviously.
And you mentioned earlier, this thing has a dual purpose. It's definitely a showcase of who's who, the elite power structure. But it's also a serious moneymaker, a financial engine. The sources confirmed the 2025 gala. Pulled in over $12 million.
$12 million. That number needs context, right?
Absolutely critical context, because that $12 million isn't just, going into a general pot.
Yeah.
It's not just random charity.
It's an investment.
It's a direct investment in the whole ecosystem that keeps Hollywood's history and narrative alive. That money is specifically earmarked.
Well, what exactly?
For the museum's exhibitions, number one.
Versus.
For its educational programs, think future filmmakers. And its public initiatives.
So it's literally funding the industry's memory, its cultural legacy, and its future workforce.
You got it. So when you show up, when you support this event, you're sending a message. You're not just a flash in the pan, a temporary
Sort of
star.
signaling that you're invested, a partner in the future of film itself.
Precisely. You're part of the establishment now, helping sustain it.
And the prestige factor gets layered on too, right? With the partnerships and
right.
sponsors.
Oh yeah. Organized with Rolex, the official timepiece partner.
Yeah. Which sounds kind of minor, but it's a big tell, isn't it?
It's crucial because these legacy luxury brands, like Rolex, they don't just slap their name on anything. They don't chase fleeting trends.
They're about permanence, timelessness.
Exactly. So their involvement associates the event, the people being honored, even the attendees like Alcock, with that same sense of permanence, global stature.
So if Rolex is involved, the industry sees this as like a cultural pillar, not just entertainment buzz.
Spot on.
Oh.
But let's look at the honorees too, because that really maps out the hierarchy, and it shows where Alcock fits into this picture now.
Okay, yeah. Who got the awards in 2025?
It was a really interesting mix, reflecting the whole spectrum of influence. You had Bruce Springsteen,
The boss.
getting the first ever Legacy Award, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
His cultural impact goes way beyond just film soundtracks. He's a storyteller.
And he performed.
Yeah, did some songs, including Streets of Philadelphia, his Oscar winner. That adds a whole layer of, real live cultural weight to the night.
Okay, who else?
Then you had the heavy hitters from the film world itself. Penelope Cruz got the Icon Award.
Deservedly, decades of massive global impact.
For sure. And the filmmaker Walter Salles got the Luminary Award. That one celebrates the innovators, people pushing the boundaries of cinema.
Right, creative visionary.
And then, really importantly, there was Bowen Yang. He got the Vantage Award.
Okay, and that one's specifically for?
Emerging talent. People who are seen as actively reshaping the future of film.
Ah, okay. So having Alcock in that room on that night with that group of honorees puts her in a very specific context.
Exactly. She's not just hanging out near the industry. She's positioned right in the orbit of the past icons, the present global stars, the future innovators.
And the emerging talents who are seen as the next wave, like her.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And look at the co-chairs running the thing.
Yeah. Who are they?
Titans. Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey, Jennifer Hudson, Viola Davis.
Wow. Okay, that's the inner circle, the people who actually greenlight stuff, produce movies, make careers.
That's the power structure right there.
Okay, let me just, play devil's advocate for a second. Does just getting an invite to a party co-chaired by Viola Davis really mean you've made it? Or is it just smart agents getting her face in the right room, good PR?
That's a totally fair question. But the sources really paint this as more than just PR, more than just window dressing. You got to look at the guest list.
Right. It was stacked.
Relentlessly A-list. Over 100 top celebs. We're talking George Clooney, Kim Kardashian, Zoe Saldana, Channing Tatum, Hailey Bieber, Kendall Jenner. Just name after name.
Okay, so the density of actual power brokers in that room,
Yeah.
that's what matters.
That's the key. It's not just about being seen. It's about access. It's about proximity.
Right. For an actor like her, who needs to keep the momentum going after that big breakthrough.
Her being there signals a massive professional step up, an elevation. It means she's graduated from just being the breakout star of that show to someone who's seen as, integrated, essential almost.
Part of the elite fabric of the industry.
Yeah. When she's at these kinds of galas, mingling with the producers, the financiers, she's actually building the relationships, the ones that get your next indie film funded or negotiate your next big franchise deal.
So, in a way, this event kind of marks the end of her emerging talent phase, at least socially.
I think that's exactly right. She's now definitively part of Hollywood's social and professional hierarchy. She's moved from being, a promising face on a poster.
She's someone with real, measurable industry standing. The potential is now established reality. It's locked in.
And to really get how significant that gala integration is, we kind of have to zoom out, right, and appreciate just how fast this whole thing happened for her.
The speed is incredible.
We need to rewind back to the beginning, her origin point. Because this success wasn't just manufactured in Hollywood overnight.
No, she had roots elsewhere. Born April 11th, 2000, Sydney, Australia.
And the first really big decision, the one that kind of set her on this specific path, came super early. It took serious commitment, almost reckless, you could say.
Leaving school.
Yeah. At 16, she decides to leave Newtown High School of the Performing Arts, a specialized school, to go full-time into acting.
16! Wow, that's a huge call.
It's crucial, though. It signals this intense focus, right? Leaving a performing arts high school before you even graduate. That's a massive gamble.
Means she chose practical professional experience over the structured path, betting everything on just getting work.
Betting she could get footing immediately in the Australian industry.
And those early years weren't exactly glamorous, were they?
Not according to the sources. She spent that time really building the foundation. Practical stuff. TV commercials for Australian brands, small roles in local TV shows, often procedural.
He's just grinding it out, learning the ropes, getting comfortable on set in front of the camera.
Laying the groundwork, building discipline, which is probably why the later explosion worked so well. She was actually prepared when the big chance came.
And that preparation really paid off with her first big breakthrough, right? In Australia itself.
Yeah, the 2019 dramedy series Upright. That was her moment to shine domestically.
Co-starring with Tim Minchin, who's huge in Australia and beyond.
Right. And this was her chance to show she had serious range. Complex, dramatic chops.
And the show's premise was pretty unique too, wasn't it? Very Australian.
Totally. She played Meg, this runaway teen, trekking across the Aussie outback with Tim Minchin's character, Lucky.
Who's lugging an upright piano across the desert?
Exactly. Trying to get it to his dying mother. It's this amazing setup that demands a lot from the actors.
Resilience, grit, vulnerability against that harsh landscape.
And that's exactly what the critics zeroed in on. They universally praised her performance, called it raw, emotionally nuanced.
They specifically mentioned her exceptional range.
Yeah. This wasn't just like a quirky role. It was a real character study, required psychological depth. Those skills turned out to be pretty useful later on.
You think? And the show itself did well.
Critically, yeah, and with audiences. Got a 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. That signals people really connected with
Like
it.
awards recognition.
Domestically, yes. She got nominated for Best Comedy Performer at the AACTAs in 2020. That's like the Australian Oscars.
Okay.
And even before that, back in 2018, she'd won the Casting Guild of Australia's Rising Stars Award. So she wasn't unknown at home. She was respected, a known talent.
But then came the thing that changed absolutely everything. The global explosion.
2022, House of the Dragon, HBO. Game over, basically.
Yeah, this is where the story just shifts into hyperdrive. From working hard to, boom, instant global saturation.
And the sources love highlighting that contrast. When she got cast as young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, she was 22, and living, well, a pretty normal post-uni kind of life, right?
Working a service job, washing dishes in a Sydney restaurant, living in her mom's attic.
That detail, the attic, the dishwashing, it's essential. It grounds the whole thing. It really underscores how sudden, how jarring the transition must have been.
Yeah. And compare that to her online presence then, Instagram followers.
Around 27,000, which, you know, is decent for an established working actor in Australia, but
Yeah, but nothing compared to what was coming.
nothing. Then House of the Dragon drops.
And her performance just, it popped. Everyone was talking about her.
Electrifying is the word used. She captivated audiences globally, instantly, widely seen as the breakout star of that first season.
And she brought that psychological depth again, didn't she, to Rhaenyra?
Totally. Think about what that role needed. You need the vulnerability of this young woman trapped in a sexist succession mess, but also the ambition, the smarts, the toughness to actually survive and play the game in Westeros.
That conflict, navigating the family trauma, the gender discrimination, you can see the link back to Upright, can't you?
It's a direct line. She was ready for Rhaenyra's weight. She could handle that complexity.
You nailed both sides, the emotional core and the political steel.
Absolutely. And the fame metrics, they just went vertical overnight. Instagram went from 27,000
To over 1.4 million.
1.4 million followers. That's like a 5,000% increase in her visibility, her cultural footprint in just months.
Insane. And the industry noticed too, right? The awards nominations started coming.
Yep. Critics' Choice Television Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress in 23, then a Saturn Award nomination in 24 for Best Performance by a Younger Actor, and a Critics' Choice Super Awards nomination too.
And those nominations matter. They're not just hype.
No, they're critical endorsements. They show that industry peers, the critics, they saw her performance standing on its own artistic merit. It wasn't just riding the coattails of the Game of Thrones brand.
Right. It confirms her talent is real, transferable, sustainable.
Exactly. So you track that. In less than 3 years, she goes from the attic, the service job, relative anonymity,
To global fame, major award nominations, and then bam, she's walking that Academy Museum Gala red carpet, cementing her place with the exact elite she was, metaphorically at least, serving plates to just before.
It is a stunning acceleration. Breathtaking, really.
Okay, let's zoom back into that gala moment itself. Because her look, what she chose to wear, the sources suggest that was a very deliberate move too. A strategic choice.
Yeah, it wasn't just picking a pretty dress.
Yeah.
It says something about the brand she's building.
The descriptions kept using words like ethereal and sober.
And they noted it reflects her usual style, modern, subtle, full of presence. They even used that phrase, elegancia serena, serene elegance.
Which consciously sets her apart, doesn't it?
Totally. In a room probably packed with, big, bold, maybe even loud glamour, she goes for something controlled, sophisticated.
What does that convey, though? What's the message?
Maturity, maybe. Artistic seriousness. It suggests she's aligning herself with fashion that's more about concept, about longevity, not just a quick viral hit.
High concept fashion. And that leads directly to the designer choice, right? Harris Reed.
Exactly. Choosing Harris Reed, especially for an emerging star like her, is really significant. We should probably unpack why that is.
Definitely. Who is Harris Reed for people who might not follow high fashion closely?
Okay, so Harris Reed is this British-American designer who's already made huge waves. Big deal. Got appointed creative director of Nita Ricci, the French fashion house.
Wow. Okay. So established cred.
Yeah. But he's really known as one of the most innovative, like, boundary-pushing voices in couture right now.
So by picking Reed, Alcock isn't just wearing clothes. She's kind of wearing a statement, a philosophy.
Absolutely. Reed's whole thing is summed up in that phrase he uses, romanticism gone non-binary.
Right. I saw that mentioned. What does that actually mean in terms of design?
It's not just a catchy phrase, it's his whole design ethos. It's about challenging traditional ideas of gender in clothing, emphasizing fluidity, inclusivity.
Using clothes to start conversations.
Exactly. So for Alcock to align with a designer doing that,
Yeah.
it positions her as forward-thinking, culturally aware, probably resonates with a younger audience too, one that cares about those things.
So she's signaling, my brand isn't about old school celebrity glitz. It's about artistic freedom, maybe even social awareness.
I think that's part of it, yeah. And Reed's actual designs show this. He mixes traditionally masculine shapes like strong tailoring, structured lines.
Architectural forms.
Yeah, exactly. With these incredibly sculptural, flowing, ethereal elements. Big skirts, dramatic trains, sometimes wild headpieces. It's this tension between structure and fluidity.
Interesting. And his work, it's called demi-couture. What's that?
Right. So couture traditionally means bespoke, one-off, handmade, super high-end. Demi-couture kind of borrows that meticulous hand craftsmanship, that artistic elevation.
But maybe makes it slightly more accessible or uses different materials.
Yeah, often it involves maybe more sustainable materials or repurposed fabrics, or the process is just a bit different from the very closed-off world of traditional Parisian haute couture. It's still high art, high skill.
But with a more modern, maybe even democratic spin, reflecting the values of her generation, potentially.
Could be. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward choice. It shows she has a sophisticated fashion sense. She gets the trends, but she's picking the innovative edge.
And look who else wears Reed.
Right. His client list is insane. Beyonce, Adele,
Yeah.
Sam Smith. He dressed diamond for the Met Gala in 2021, that iconic look.
Wow. Okay, so wearing Harris Reed puts her in very specific company. Global figures using fashion as power.
It's a strategic message to the whole industry, really. It says.
Oh.
She gets it. She understands presentation, image, nonverbal communication. It basically positions her as a style icon almost immediately.
Okay. But it wasn't just the dress, right? There was jewelry, too.
Crucial counterpoint. She anchored that conceptual redesign with jewelry from David Yurman.
Which is more traditional luxury.
Exactly. David Yurman is a well-established luxury jewelry house, known for distinctive designs, precious metals, gemstones, very respected.
And apparently lots of guests at the gala wore Yurman, so it confirms that prestige in Hollywood circles.
But it does that balancing act. You have the boundary-pushing, innovative redesign, grounded by the established subtle elegance and, frankly, the value of David Yurman jewelry.
So the whole look worked together.
Flawlessly, according to the sources. A cohesive, elevated statement. It solidified her status in Hollywood's fashion elite. She chose art, concept, over just standard glamour.
Signaling seriousness. An artist who understands how culture and commerce connect.
Okay, so we've established her status now. Socially, culturally, fashion-wise, she's arrived. But the real test, the thing that determines if she becomes a great figure, is what comes next, professionally.
Yeah, the future projects. It's not just about the breakthrough, it's about the follow-up. Can she sustain it? Build on it?
And the sources put her right in the mix with that current generation of young Hollywood stars who are really dominating, right?
Who are we talking about? Jenna Ortega, Sadie Sink?
Emma Myers, Sydney Sweeney. That's the peer group they mentioned. The ones grabbing the big roles, leading the streaming hits, getting the covers.
But Alcock's path, it feels even steeper, doesn't it? More compressed.
Totally unique. You have the solid foundation in Australia, then bam, immediate global breakthrough with HOTD. That just rocketed her onto a different level.
It accelerated everything. Getting into rooms like the gala, landing major roles. It compressed maybe a decade's worth of career building into, what, 3 years?
Roughly 3 years of just explosive, sustained development. It's wild.
And the next phase, well, it's huge, defined by one massive commitment.
Colossal. Her casting as Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, in James Gunn's new DC universe.
That's not just another role, is it? That's a potential career anchor. A huge vote of confidence from Warner Bros., from DC.
That positions her right at the center of this whole new cinematic mythology they're building.
So she'll show up first in the new Superman movie. Superman, Legacy.
That's the plan. Production starts March 2026. That's her introduction to the mass audience.
But then she gets her own movie.
The main event, her starring vehicle, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, slated for June 26th, 2026.
That's the definition of a role carrying generational weight, isn't it? Demands massive recognition, huge professional presence.
Absolutely. But what's really fascinating here and strategically brilliant for her is Gunn's specific take on the character.
Right. This isn't necessarily the cheerful Supergirl some people remember. Alcock's casting seems to fit a darker, more complex version.
That aligns perfectly with what she's already shown she can do.
Yeah.
Handle that heavy psychological stuff.
How is Gunn framing it differently?
He's explicitly talked about the contrast with Superman. Clark Kent lands on Earth as a baby, gets raised by the loving Kents in Smallville, grows up with this basically positive view of humanity. He's hope.
Okay. Standard Superman origin.
But Supergirl's backstory, in this version, profoundly different.
How so?
She was older when Krypton blew up. She didn't get that gentle Kansas upbringing. Gunn described her as being raised on a rock chip off of Krypton. Meaning she lived through the destruction. She saw her civilization wiped out. She survived that trauma, maybe spent time in some kind of dark exile.
Whoa. Okay, that changes everything. That means the character comes preloaded with immense trauma, survivor's guilt, maybe a much harder edge.
Exactly. A darker, more troubled perspective on life, on power, on humanity, maybe.
And you connect that back to Alcock.
It's a perfect fit. She excelled at playing Rhaenyra, who was navigating intense family trauma, political pressure, betrayal. So casting her as a Supergirl, explicitly designed for a complex, psychologically compelling portrayal.
It's playing directly to her proven strengths, her unique artistic signature.
Not just a fluffy superhero gig, it sounds like a character drama wrapped in a blockbuster package.
That totally explains the studio's confidence. They're not just hiring a recognizable face from a hit show. They're hiring an actor whose specialty is complex, wounded ambition, and resilience.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
right. But the big challenge with taking on a massive franchise role like that is always the risk of being typecast or just burning out.
Right. Forever Supergirl.
Which brings us to what might be the smartest move in her whole career plan so far, balancing that huge DC commitment with something totally different.
Independent film. Keeping that artistic cred alive.
Exactly. It confirms she wants a long-term artistic legacy, not just blockbuster fame.
And that balance is shown immediately with her next project, right? The dark comedy, Thumb.
Thumb. This is the essential career insurance policy, you could say. It screams range, it shows she's not afraid of weird, unconventional stuff, and it lets her use those comedic chops people loved in Upright.
The plot sounds bananas. In a good way.
Totally indie prestige. She plays this solitary young woman, gets a severed thumb in the mail, randomly,
Okay.
and becomes obsessed with returning it to its owner, which apparently leads her down this rabbit hole and changes her life.
Bizarre. Human. Challenging. Exactly the kind of role that wins awards at Sundance, right?
You got it. And look at the team behind it. That signals its quality. Written by Cesar Violet.
Who won the Academy's Nickel Fellowship? We should explain what that means.
Yeah, good point. The Nickel Fellowship is basically the gold standard for screenwriting competitions globally. Super competitive. Winning it means the Academy itself has flagged your script as exceptional among unproduced screenplays.
So producers see that and know the script has serious potential. It's pre-vetted for quality.
Huge signal of literary merit and often commercial viability for that indie market.
Okay. And produced by Akiva Goldsman, Oscar winner. Directed by Dinah Oniunas-Pusic. That's a serious team for an indie.
Very high quality team committing to a really unconventional script. And get this, filming is scheduled for autumn 2025 in New York.
Right when she's doing the gala rounds, prepping for the whole DC launch in 2026.
The timing is incredible. The implication is huge. She is actively, deliberately carving out space for weird, dark, comedic, independent material right alongside the biggest franchise commitment imaginable.
Okay, but let me push back again. Isn't that incredibly risky? Like, insanely demanding.
How so?
Juggling the physical training, the press, the sheer mental load of launching a global DC franchise, and then immediately pivoting to this intense, focused, probably low-budget indie character piece. Wouldn't it be safer to just, take a year off? Or stick with the guaranteed blockbusters.
You get the strategic genius of it, I think. It looks like risk, but maybe it's actually risk mitigation. If she only did Supergirl, she risks exactly what you said. Artistic burnout, being typecast forever in spandex. Thumb is the artistic counter-narrative.
It proves she's still available for challenging roles.
It proves to directors, to casting agents, to critics, I'm still a serious actor. I'm not just a brand ambassador for a superhero. It keeps her options open. It validates her talent in a space that serious film people respect.
So connecting it back to the big picture, it suggests she's fiercely determined not to be put in a box.
Absolutely. She's deliberately choosing this duality, the massive scale and pressure of Supergirl needing huge endurance, market appeal, and contrasting it with the intimate, maybe unsettling high-wire act of Thumb needing raw emotional precision.
That balance, that duality, it
Right.
really speaks volumes about her ambition, doesn't it? Not just for fame, but for a career with both clout and respect.
That blend is often what defines those truly generational figures in acting, isn't it? #TagVR. Final takeaways and future promise.
Okay, so we kicked off this deep dive asking that central question. Is Milly Alcock actually destined to become one of the great figures of her generation?
The big question from the sources.
And after digging through all this, the gala strategy, the fashion choices, the upright foundation, the OTD explosion, and now these upcoming projects, the evidence seems to point pretty strongly in one direction.
Towards a yes.
Towards a resounding yes, I think. The conclusion feels driven by this convergence of factors we've laid out. It's a rare combination of things all happening at once, accelerating together.
Yeah, it's not just one thing, it's the whole package.
Okay, let's recap those converging factors. First, just the sheer speed, right? The velocity of her international rise.
Going from that Sydney attic, washing dishes, to global name recognition and sitting at the Academy Gala table in, 3 years? That's not normal. It's a professional anomaly. It demands attention.
Second factor, the critical recognition has kept pace. It wasn't just hype.
Those multiple award nominations for really complex roles, they confirm the breakthrough wasn't just luck or writing a popular show. It was earned through exceptional talent, demonstrable range. The industry validated it.
Third, her savvy engagement with culture, particularly high-concept fashion.
Right. That Harris Reed choice at the gala, not random. It was a deliberate alignment with boundary-pushing art, establishing her as a style icon who thinks beyond just pretty, modern, sophisticated.
And finally, maybe most importantly, the future slate, the diversity of those upcoming roles.
That's key. She's locked down the massive franchise lead with Supergirl. That guarantees global eyeballs, financial security, industry clout.
But she immediately balances it with ambitious, risky, independent cinema like Thumb. That ensures critical depth, artistic relevance, keeps her interested.
It's the 1-2 punch. Box office power plus critical respect.
So putting it all together, this whole trajectory really does establish Milly Alcock as one of the most significant emerging talents in cinema right now, poised not just for initial success, but for sustained achievement, artistically too.
And that gala appearance really feels like the perfect symbol of it all, doesn't it? The encapsulation of that transition.
Yeah, like closing the chapter on emerging talent.
And starting the chapter on established Hollywood figure. Her tenure begins now.
She seems to have all the necessary pieces in place. The proven acting chops, the industry validation from awards bodies, the huge opportunities from major studios.
And that smart cultural positioning shown by her brand choices. All the data points suggest this is a career built to last, well beyond just this current buzz.
Okay, so what does this mean for you, the listener, then, as you watch her next moves?
Well, I think it means we're witnessing an actor making incredibly calculated long-term decisions very early in her global career. She seems to be prioritizing artistic legacy, maybe even over immediate easy wins.
Defining her brand through complexity, through characters dealing with tough stuff.
It seems that way. Whether it's the politics of Westeros, the trauma of Krypton's end, or this weird quest with a severed thumb, her sweet spot seems to be characters navigating intense emotional waters, conflict, turbulence.
That focus on complexity, on duality, that feels like the perfect place to land this. If you want to watch a real-time example of how raw talent meets strategic planning and harnesses insane industry momentum.
This is it. Milly Alcock is the case study right now.
All right. Before we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave you with that one final thought, something to mull over.
Okay.
Think about the sheer contrast, the extreme demands of what she's taking on next. The absolutely immense global pressure, the corporate scale, the weight of expectation playing an icon like Supergirl.
Years of commitment there.
And immediately contrasting that with the intimate, strange, darkly funny, probably quite demanding character work in Thumb.
Worlds apart.
Totally different cinematic universes, right? How will navigating those two extremes, the massive franchise machine versus the nimble indie film, how will that constant back and forth actually shape her identity as an actress? And ultimately, how will it solidify or maybe even complicate her artistic legacy down the road?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How does she manage that duality without losing herself in one or the other?
Exactly. That's the journey that will likely define the next 5, maybe 10 years of Milly Alcock's career. Definitely something to keep an eye on, something to chew on until our next deep dive.